This technology really reduces a lot of the labor that goes into it. You still need the people there to set up the lights and whatnot, but the physical strain on your body gets reduced. At this point, there's a lot of versatility within the market of high-powered, low-powered, and like micro-range. I do fixtures work, like on hacks, for example, here on the Universal lot. We use little battery packs called flash fish to go around testing LED when we're on location. It's very convenient. You can travel around with it. You can get to places that normally you can't bring diesel or combustion engines. For example, there are a lot of companies now, generator companies like Powerhouse, for example. My buddies, they have adapted the EcoFlow Delta Pro, I believe it's called. They have power stations where they stack several of them on top of each other. And I think there's a lot of ingenuity going on with this technology. It takes something that's smaller in size and brings it into our world of set lighting. Because a lot of this technology is coming from other sectors into ours, like the Moxion, I think, started in sort of the construction world, and it's made its way. It's dual purposing here in our industry, and it's great to see crew adapting to this technology, because a lot of times people in my job, they just, if it doesn't work exactly how they want it, they just kind of shun it off or ignore it. And so kind of beautiful seeing people adapting and working with these units. I mentioned earlier, it reduces cable, and with that, a lot of people in 728 and set lighting are worried that jobs go away. I don't think so, because you'll need more people in some other capacity, whether it's swapping generator, doing runs late at night, or helping swap the generator during the day.
The best thing about all this is to watch how the technology is advanced. In the last 2 to 3 years, we went from burning 70, 80 gallons of diesel fuel a day, just base camp. And now we're down to under 30. And I think we're pretty close to just doing away with it in the near future. And the mental health aspect of it. I mean, when you're in a base camp, we were just playing around with the Sanaset J250 over there. And it was really cool to have a generator that's grinding on your head in the background. And you don't realize it. It's quiet, but all of a sudden you shut that off and you can just take this deep breath of fresh air. And it's like, wow, I can actually think. I don't have that droning going on in my head. I've got a bunch of old time generator operators on my show, and they're all geeking out now about trying to minimize runtime on the generators and trying to maximize the solar power. Because right now we're using Galpin trailers, and they have a solar setup where we can plug them all into each other and plug the non-solar trailers in. And it's really badass. I mean, it's super cool. And they're really nice trailers. And it's become a game and a contest amongst the guys to plug in the non-solar trailers to those trailers. And it's really cool to see. And it's rewarding for me, because I kind of talked them into it, and they didn't want to do it in the beginning. And that's one of the challenges that this whole world is up against, is old dogs learning new tricks. Shanaset, for instance, they have a deal where they're working with a buddy of mine, and they mounted one of their battery setups on one of their trucks. That's brilliant. That's probably the smartest freaking thing I've heard in this whole thing, because now you have those people on board, and they're going to make damn sure it works. So they have a dog in the fight. It was brilliant. You got Armando over at A&A and Young Generator. Those guys are busting their ass to make sure that unit is a success on that truck, because they have a stake in it. And that's a big thing that everybody's overlooking in this business. If you include the guys, you'll get a lot more. If the vendors would sit down with the guys and say, look, how can we include you in this? All of a sudden, you're going to have 150% more effort being put in this whole project to be a success. The people factor in this whole thing is being forgotten quite a bit. It's come a long way from the beginning, where it's just kind of a bunch of riffraff getting into it. Hey, we want to change the world. We don't know how, but now they know how, and they actually have a plan, and they're attacking it, and they're getting it done. And I think if you get the below the line employees on board, you're going to have something that's a pretty formidable force to make it happen. I mean, I'm just watching my guys geek out on my show, and they've, without even a solar trailer, they've cut back 40 gallons a day on base camp before we even get into anything. They're making sure things are shut off. They're making sure that lights are off, all that trailer's not being used, unplug it and close it down. You have this extra effort being, just that alone is huge. The people factor. And we start teaching the old dogs the new tricks. I really, really think if we include them, they'll learn the new tricks, and I think we'll get a long way.
I think training does have a lot to do with this. Having demos with crews, I see a lot of that. I hear a lot about that. I think there's Santa said, I think maybe brought the J250 out on hacks, and we used it up in the Hollywood Hills. It was great just seeing the rigging crew just understand it, play with it. They ended up using it, I believe, because the neighborhood was very sensitive to combustion engines, and it worked perfectly. And I think they were kind of taken aback. Their expectations were exceeded, and they became believers from it. So I think, be it training or demos, I think that's a route that's part of the key to seeing this become more commonplace in the industry, especially if there's budgetary constraints with getting the technology out there. If a vendor's willing to let it be used for a day in the most important case scenario, I think it speaks to all parts of the team, the production, the crew, especially when the crew comes back and gives feedback to their sustainability officers or their UPMs on why it's good and why it works well and works better than its a diesel alternative.
There's a learning curve, and we have to mess with it or we're not going to get there. So, like the hydrogen setup, it's worth a try. And if it doesn't work, we try it and give them input, and you can dial it in better. It's just trial and error. That's all. Failures. If you don't fail, you didn't try. And everybody wants to succeed at. We all breathe the same air, so drink the same water. If you get the right people, it's happening. Quality people want to make quality changes. That's really what this is all about. People breathing safe air, fresh water. It's about people.